People are not broken, they adapted to survive. Welcome to the Way Out of Childhood Trauma with Barb Wartzel-Smith. Welcome to the next episode of Way Out of Childhood Trauma. And today I have here the guest from Austin, and it's Laura Dunworth. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Barb. Thank you for having me today.
Laura, it's a yoga instructor and meditation teacher, breathwork, starts working with energies, and do a lot of work with people about healing through the body, through the sound and energy movement. So, Laura, tell me why you get to this, why you doing this type of work?
Well, I think we are all on a healing journey, aren't we? We are all healing from some sort of trauma. And, traumas are all different. Some of them are actually, um, you know, very severe, but even the so-called smaller traumas stay with us and affect us in different ways. And so for me, I grew up a child of divorced parents, and I was the kind of person that never wanted to show any anger. I wanted everybody to be okay. I took on a lot of responsibility. I swallowed all of my emotions. And I started noticing when I was maybe in first grade that I was having some issues. I was getting stomach aches. I was getting my really sweaty hands and anxiety, and didn't really know what was going on. I just knew that my body was having some severe problems. And then into my early 20s, my younger brother, who was my best friend growing up, he passed away suddenly in a hiking accident in Hawaii. And that was a huge trauma for me, obviously. It was also an awakening journey for me. I really started noticing the issues in my body, the inability to sleep, the constant monitoring of my surroundings, and just kind of feeling fearful and feeling anxious and overwhelmed. And I began a journey. First of all, I read everything I could read on bereavement and grief and loss and all of that. And I started on a journey of how do I heal myself? And I started practicing yoga. I started seeing energy and sound healers, learning breath work. And then I became a yoga teacher, a breathwork teacher, a meditation and mindfulness teacher, and a health coach. I started noticing that oftentimes it doesn't always matter just what we're eating. We can eat obviously very healthy, but it doesn't matter if we're eating certain foods. It's what we're consuming energetically, like our emotions and our surroundings. And maybe it's media if we're watching too much news or scrolling. All of the things affect our nervous system. And so that's really when I began teaching other people how to heal from their trauma, because everything that we go through, we hold on to in our bodies. So our bodies hold the trauma, which was such an awakening aha moment for me. It's like, oh my gosh, the issues are in the tissues. We hold on to those trauma files, and oftentimes we loop them over and over and over again. And so we're just ingraining them deeper and deeper into our minds and our bodies until we decide to learn how to heal from those. And so that's what I do. I teach many different modalities because everybody is different. And I know what's worked for me, and I love to share those tools with other people.
Yeah, thank you for that. I think that two very important things you said. It's first that doesn't have to be necessarily big trauma, doesn't have to be what we calling like violence reactive. It's going to be non-violent attachment trauma in childhood from the very and yeah, we know that divorce is affecting the children a lot, but it's still very underestimated how much. And also bereavement in young age, children, young adults, very underestimated what is the effect of losing the sibling or losing the parents, and how much trauma it's actually causing, because usually because it's in the family is not ready to support, because parents lost the child. are not always ready to support the other child to go through that process, is it? But also another important thing is that yeah, everybody is different, and for everybody works something else. So I kind of saying same to the people, like if you start with yoga or exercise or trying to more looking on what you're eating and starting monitoring your body, every step forward, it's useful. And for some people, working better through the body, for some people working better through the mind, in the end we will get to the same point, because from the body you will move to the mind, from the mind you will move to the body. So what do you find like most useful for people you work with as the step forward um in the recovery?
Well, I'm going to use one of my clients as an example here. He's in the military, and he has some PTSD. And we've worked with several different modalities. He definitely enjoys yoga. He enjoys meditation, but the modality that works the best for him, because it's very target specific, is called emotional freedom technique, EFT, or tapping for short. You're probably aware
Oh.
of that. And it's a really, really powerful modality. It's quick, it's something you can do with yourself. And so it's based on the principles of Chinese medicine, of acupuncture, acupressure points, where the different points of our bodies are directly correlated to energy centers and places where we store these emotions. And so we go through different parts of our bodies and we do tapping while we are focusing on the specific trauma. We are thinking about that trauma. We are labeling on a scale of 1 to 10. We are saying, even though I'm feeling the certain feeling on a scale of 1 to 10, I still deeply and completely love and accept myself. And so we move through the different points and the different sayings, and we are literally tapping that energy out of our bodies. And it's a really, really beautiful tool. And because we are focusing on that specific energy, we can notice the level, scale of 1 to 10, the 10, the 9, the 8. We can kind of tap it out, breathe it out, and reprogram ourselves. And so that's a really, really effective one. They're using that in veterans hospitals in the United States, and I'm sure all over the world. I mean, Europe is sometimes a lot further ahead of us, and obviously the countries where the ancient modalities come from. It's really a beautiful thing to see the ancient traditional techniques of healing and energy, of really quantum physics is what we're calling it now. But it's energy centers, it's chakras, it's the energy field around you. It's all of these things that Western medicine is starting to pay attention to now, and noticing that everything is energy. Our
Mm.
bodies are energy, our thoughts are energy, and so our emotions are energy. And so all of these things respond to energetic healing techniques. And so it's a really, really exciting time that we're in right now, that we're rediscovering how powerful a lot of these techniques can be.
Yeah, I think that it's really shifting. First of all, since we are able to make the photo of the aura and how it's changing with how we processing things, but also like if people think, oh, I don't believe that, like, oh, but then don't go to MRI to the hospital, because MRI doing that is measuring our energy levels in every single cell, and it's make the body scan for them, and from that the doctors can see what's working, what not, because it will change how it's representing on on the MRI scan. So I think that it's about that really. When we start introducing always as is possible to heal, we will realize that there is always some available, and always actually were some available. So we just need to learn it. And I think that, for example, tapping or breath work are the great example of things which people can help themselves. So very useful, especially for, I would say, for men or military, when they have that feeling of, I want to be in control, I don't want to give up somebody else, I should be able to cope. The giving that tool of coping or increasing and then maybe be open to techniques which can switch it off completely. That we are also available techniques for PTSD can just be switched off. But um, so on your journey to where you are now, what was that like turning point? Where did you realize that, you know what, I actually can be better? I can change that.
Well, I have to say, part of my grief journey has also been kind of a spiritual journey, an awakening journey to, like you said, the energies of my own intuition, the energies of noticing maybe some signs and synchronicities that I was receiving some divine help. And I think that I started noticing all of these beautiful signs and synchronicities. I was questioning them. I was wondering what was really going on. But then I started to ask myself, okay, well, what am I being invited to learn? And that invitation to learn was coming back to myself as more than just a body, more than just a mind. We are spiritual beings. And we start to tune into that energy of our intuition, our own inner knowing, and realizing that we have a choice. We can, life here on this planet is, it's a lot, right? It's a lot. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot of energy, and it is a beautiful school if we let it be.
Mm,
If we realize that we can wake up and say, you know what, I don't want to feel victimized by this circumstance anymore. I want to feel empowered. I want to heal. And just, that quieting down, quieting the noise and tuning into our own inner voice, because we are our own healing guru. We are
mm,
our own healers. We can go see all of these people to help us and guide us, but at the end of the day, we're doing the work. We're doing
mhm,
the healing. And when I started realizing that I had all this power inside me and all of this intuitive knowing that I could heal my heart, and that maybe some of that pain was love, and that I could kind of look at it through a different lens. And I look at my life. I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't change any of the hardships, because they have shaped me and they have helped me
mhm,
grow. And I don't really think we can grow without going through some of those hard times. I think that's part of the human condition. And so, yeah, just realizing that I had that innate wisdom, that I was my own healer, that I was intuitive, and that I could go learn these different modalities, and that it was just a beautiful journey.
mm. Yeah, I think that you pointed out beautifully the one important things on our journey out of trauma is that we are our own healers. And doesn't mean that we should be ashamed to ask for help, and we should ask for help, but we can ask for knowledge, we can ask for guidance, but nobody can fix us. And sometimes people coming and have that feeling like, oh, you need to fix me. Can you help? I can help you to help yourself. And it's in that way that we all have tools we can help people with, in the way to help their mind to go better or their body function better. But there has to be that willingness of change, that willingness to keep going and finding that way out, that nobody can fix that other person. There is no miracle pill, but some methods working almost as miracles. You can get out of this quite quickly, but with that willingness. And I think that that's very important. So if somebody feels like questioning their ability to change that, the ability to get out of what's happened to them, what do you would tell them?
Well, to be patient. I lost my younger brother 30 years ago, and there are still moments that the tears come up. And I think we heal in layers. I think we heal a little bit at a time. And I think that, being patient, but learning to honor yourself, learning to honor your journey and your wisdom and your growth, and giving yourself a little pat on the back every time you make progress, because life is not easy, but it can be joyful. And I
Mm,
think so much of our lives are really a mindset choice. We can look at life as this is happening to me or this is happening for me. And I think that, when you're in the thick of grief, you need, you got to honor that. It's going to take some time. You need to work towards the light again, but you don't have to stay in it. You
mhm.
don't have to stay in it forever. And so, I think sometimes there's a term called spiritual bypassing, when you just jump right to, oh, everything happens for a reason, all of these things, which I believe is true. Everything happens for our growth. It's happening for us and not to us. But you have to honor your heartache. You have to honor your body. But you can choose to see, your life as a blessing, and the time maybe that you had with this person, if it's a loss, as a blessing. And just, reframing how you see things as less as a victim and more as an empowered divine being.
Well, I think that especially with the sadness, we have this misconception about that we should, the result should be stop be sad. But the result of the process of grief is the acceptance of new reality, acceptance of reality that person is not here. But sadness to some level will be always here, because the sadness is about future, not about past. Sadness teaching us about lost opportunities. So every Christmas we will feel like that person is not here. My father wasn't here for my wedding, wasn't here for my child be born, wasn't here. In all the times will come up the sadness, and fine to cry, because it's about sadness. It's not about past. We lost the future. We lost the possibility to experience more with that person, in the relationship, in the job, in the anything what we lost that future. So coming it back sometimes, it's it's healthy, is it? Because we still have that relationship with that person, and we can still miss her to the rest of our lives. But the result is not to be stuck, is it? And move forward. Like grief is that when we get stuck in it and stopping us from functioning and moving forward. So I do really like how did you describe it, that we need to honor it, we need to go through it, and not trying to jump over. And quite often we do it. Quite often the life kind of make us to just, I don't know, keep going, swallow, go going. There's people not taking time off the work. Like I had a client who described that on the day of the mother funeral went to the work, and they just took like 2 hours to go to the funeral, because nobody would felt inappropriate to take day off. And just like, oh, I'm not surprised really that you didn't process it, like you just swallow it all in, and keep going like as nothing happened. So, but that's
Yes.
just,
And I think that, I think that maybe sometimes we grieve in small doses and just kind of, put it on the back burner and deal with it later. But when we don't allow ourselves to feel it and be in it and then learn to process it, that's when it starts to manifest as physical ailments. And there have been many books written about that when you swallow your emotions, you may end up with digestive issues. When you
mhm.
aren't speaking your truth, you may end up with throat issues. If you're not feeling balanced and stable in your life, then it might be issues with your feet or your knees. Our emotions are our emotional body, which is part of our energy body, is directly impacts our physical body. And so everything is connected. And that's why a heartache actually feels painful in your heart, because
Mhm.
that's where those, I think I heard somewhere that we have more we have quite a few we have neurons in our brain, but we have neurites in our heart, so that our hearts actually are an area where we have some intelligence when it comes to how we feel our emotions. And
Mhm.
you can feel it in your body. When you're excited and happy, your chest just feels like it's swelling and expanding, and when you're sad and grieving, your heart feels like it's contracting and constricting. So
Yeah.
it's interesting, the physical nature of our emotions.
Yeah. And the science now even confirming it. Now they do quite a big research on the topic of heartbroken syndrome. Is it they name it? They cannot describe it why it's happening, but they know that it's happening.
Hmm.
that that
Exactly.
some people just die on the broken heart, and it's because that emotions are too overwhelming for them. So um, absolutely, that connection between mind and body is 100% there. And truth be told, the NASA have some tools for it, but not everybody knows about them. I was lucky to be able to see and use some of them. So they're using them for the astronauts for diagnosis, but we don't have them in full access, because then we will probably not need so much paying on the medical insurance. But
Yeah, then there's that. There's that.
Uh, so, if you would recommend somebody, what the people can just start with? Like, what is like a thing which, you're going through that? What is the one things you can just start doing, like, even when you're not going anywhere?
Well, breathing. Most of us don't breathe fully. Most of us don't breathe correctly. And so what I like to do is I'll put a hand on my chest and a hand on my belly, and I'll sit for a moment. I'll close my eyes, and I will breathe very, very deeply, where my belly inflates first and then my chest. I'm using my whole diaphragm, and just taking a deep breath, because most of the time when we're stressed or anxious, we breathe just with our chest. We're not doing the full diaphragm breathing. And so when we do the full diaphragm breathing, in through your nose, exhale can be through your nose or your mouth, and just doing that for a few moments, just breathing in and breathing out and breathing in and breathing out, we start to create a rhythm and a vibration that helps to calm our vagus nerve, getting us out of that fight or flight state, getting us into the parasympathetic nervous state. And then maybe even also just kind of presencing yourself with, okay, what am I sensing right now? Can I feel the chair underneath me or the ground under my feet? If my eyes are open, what are a few things that I see, that I hear, that I notice? So a breath and presence practice that can just be a few minutes, just a few minutes. It's like, okay, I am here in this moment, and in this moment, everything's okay. I'm not in any danger. There's nothing happening that I need to be upset about. So it's the breathing, it's the getting into a mindful state. And that's just an easy one that anybody can do anywhere. I do it in my car all the time. Not when I'm driving, but when I'm parked. When I'm parked in a parking lot. Um, and then figure out what it is. I mean, it doesn't, you don't have to start a yoga class. I mean, I highly recommend it, but go for a walk in nature and just get outside and get some fresh air and breathe and listen to the sounds of the birds and the nature and the wind and the trees. And all of those things are so soothing and calming to our nervous system. So it's all about nervous system resetting, realigning. Turn off the TV, turn off the news, stop the scrolling. Give yourself a break from all the input. We have so many distractions, so much input constantly, and our nervous systems are just overloaded and overwhelmed. So you pair all of that with the trauma, and you just got way too much going on. So it's just the giving yourself some space, I would
Mm.
say. Yeah.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that. Just breathe and go out and find some movement and
Hmm.
any form you like. But one thing you mentioned previously, which I think that many people didn't hear about yet, so I want to ask you about, I think it's interesting answer, sound. How we can
Yes.
use sound on healing
Oh,
journey.
sound. I love sound. Well, we're back to the energy talk, right? Everything is energy. Our bodies are energy, our emotions are energy. Sound is frequency, and frequency is energy. And so, my husband, who has yet to come to one of my yoga classes, but he will, and he still reads the news every day, but he will listen to classical music in the morning, and he'll give himself some sound, some music. I love things like gongs and crystal singing bowls. I facilitate sound healing as part of
Mhm.
my offerings, and there are so many different recordings out there that you can listen to with different frequencies now, and different frequencies affect our body in different ways. And you can even find things on Spotify. Okay, look for a heart based frequency. Look for a 432 hertz, or these different frequencies, and just give yourself the gift of that. It's wonderful in person because you're actually getting the vibration in the room as well, which just goes right
Mhm.
through you and is very cool. But just finding it on a music streaming service, just listening to different healing frequencies. Sound can reset your body on a cellular level, really working miracles with your neural pathways and your nervous system, and resetting you back to a place of peace and coherence. And that's another thing when you talked about the heart and the science there, the science with the heart coherence, the heart brain coherence, which is where your brain waves and your heart rhythms come in sync. That is part of a gratitude practice.
Mm.
So that is, tuning into your heart, tuning into gratitude, just building that emotion of gratitude, everything that you're grateful for, every person that you're grateful for. You can kind of sit there for a moment and do a little gratitude meditation, and you will change your heart rate and your heart rhythms through a gratitude practice. So it's amazing. Our attention and our intention, very powerful combination.
But like we can see it on the babies, is it we forgetting quite about that how the babies calm down in the moment when we hold them and they hear the sound of the mom's heartbeat. It's not about that feel, the hearing they we hear in the womb already. Same as if the mom's singing the lullabies to fall in sleep, we will hear that melody when we are 40 and we will fall in sleep. It's ingrained, is it? And it's about that sound, that rhythm will make us calm the nervous system and fall asleep. And I think that is one of the things which a lot of people stop doing, singing the lullabies to their children to build up this healthy reaction, which then can work anytime. Actually, with my son, I did sing him lullaby. I also have like a little music box, and still now, if the sound of the music is over God is 20 years old, he would fall in sleep. It's just Pavlov syndrome. Like this sound, you know.
Yes. I love it. It's so true. And the sound of your body really loves the sound of your own voice. So, if you're humming or singing, that really is very soothing to your own nervous system. Your body loves your own voice as well.
Yeah. And it's also sometimes, I'm using quite like a hypnotherapy or hypnosis, but a lot of people ask me, can I record myself little meditation guided hypnosis? Is it? I was like, that's actually best. Just do it. Because if you're telling these encouraging things to yourself in your own voice, that's the most powerful how you can reprogram it. Because in your voice, you're telling yourself this, I'm not good enough, or I'm afraid, or I am terrible. So if you start in telling yourself in your voice, oh, you are amazing, you are confident, you are free, you are beautiful and creative, that's the way forward, isn't
I
it?
love it. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. I actually in the morning when I get up, I try to when I walk past the bathroom mirror, I kind of give myself a smile and I say, "Good morning, sweetheart. You are doing great today." So positive self-talk is
Yeah,
so powerful.
yeah. And in the opposite way, we can see when we have the issue in that if we really struggle to look to the mirror and tell ourselves like, I love you or you are great. So that's kind of signal that we should do something with that. So, um, Laura, um, if somebody wants to work with you, what you're doing with people?
Yes, yes. Well, I do sessions online, so I can do that from anywhere, and that can be tailored to whatever the person would like to do. I have a YouTube channel with some great recorded meditations and health tips and mindfulness techniques. Those are all free. So everything is available on my website. Oh my gosh, my books! I forgot about my books. I have I have a breathwork book for children and parents, so we can teach our young ones a lot of these techniques at an early age. And another book for teachers to use in the classroom, just simple techniques to help children. I mean, as we know, schools can be very stressful places for young people, and so it's a book for a guidebook for teachers to use with their students. And then I also have a book called Remembering Your Light, an awakening journey through grief, signs, and sacred remembering. And that is my story of awakening and my journey. And it's a beautiful story. And all of my books, as well as all of my socials and all of my offerings, are on my website, which is my name, lauradunworth.com.
Yeah, it's you can find it in the description of episode because it's a lot of info, but I would strongly recommend mainly because if we teach the children, then they grow up without trauma. They don't have to find their way out because they will find a way, they will not actually get to it. If we teach them that, or respectively allowing them to remember to doing it, because they are not born not breathing, they do quite naturally, but we can just stopping them. It's amazing. I think that's a great work you're doing, Laura, and your books are very powerful and helpful to people to restore to being themselves and be authentic and enjoying the life and be content in the life. So amazing work you're doing. So um we kind of one last kind of message you would have for people, what you would want them to really remember that they can get out of it, what it would be.
Well, I think that, remembering that we are all on a healing journey. Every person that you meet is doing the best that they can. We need to have compassion for one another. And remembering that we are all of our own healers and that we're not broken. We might just need a little bit of help to get through certain things in our lives, but there are tools and there are people, and reach out and ask for help and learn some of these things that work for you. But yes, at the end of the day, we're all in this together. We're all as well, I'm not sure how ancient he is, but Rumi, the poet, said, we are all walking each other home. And I love that. We are all in this together. And so just having some compassion and self-love starts with self-love.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's absolutely aligning with our motto. People are not broken, just adapted to survive. So you can adapt again. You have that power. You adapt until now, so you can change that how you're living. So thank you very much for coming, Laura. It was a pleasure, and see you everybody next time.
Thank you, Barb. It was my pleasure too.
Thank you for listening to Way Out of Childhood Trauma. If today's episode resonated with you, visit your steps to explore resources, training, and support designed to help you understand trauma, reconnect with your inner strengths, and rewrite your story. Until next time, take your next step